stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name, and hope you guys are really having pure fun wherever you're watching us from. I don't know how many videos have we gone ahead to do today, because this is the second live. When we go to the upload section, let me see, how many have I uploaded? Let me check. I think I've gone ahead to upload 4. Right now, this is the 6th video of the day, and hope you guys will obviously continue to follow up to see to it that we give you the latest news and information as far as everything is really concerned. But we are here to obviously see to it that we bring you the latest news and information as far as everything is really concerned. Arsenal being one of those teams that has joined the queue of many that have been playing in the preseason, have gone ahead to obviously put out a very huge showcase into this particular encounter. They've gone ahead to obviously smash a side known as Girona by 4-1, and the 2 players I went ahead to obviously talk about have gone ahead not to disappoint. And who were those? Tzolis and Dowman. I told you, these are players whose performances in the preseason are really gonna be very decisive on their contribution in the season of Arsenal. That is it. That's why you've gone ahead to say to it that in this first game, they've gone ahead to put the impact onto the field of play. And I think even Mikel Arteta told them that you need to show me that you're ready for the season for me to consider you. And if at all you don't show me that you're ready for the season, I won't go ahead to consider you that you're among those players that I'll obviously be using into this season. Now, let's break down this game of football. In the 16th minute of the game, Kai Havertz went ahead to obviously do the needful and obviously put Arsenal ahead. But there is one thing that many are not really telling us, or really telling you. Girona started up this game on a high. I tell you, Girona started up this game on a high. And them starting up this game on a high was intentional to see to it that they're really pressing high up the pitch, and they are causing all sorts of problems to the defense of Arsenal, and they called in Arsenal to obviously put in a very beautiful defense in there for you. So it really required a lot of magic to see to it that Arsenal really unlocks this side. It was not an easy encounter for anyone who thinks it was. It was nowhere near easy in that particular encounter, because the club of Arsenal could hold onto that ball, but when Girona got hold of that ball, they really attacked them directly. And it's their defenders that obviously went ahead to come to the rescue of the club of Arsenal. And there is no doubt that Arsenal has one of the best defenses in the world. And they've gone ahead to show us again today that indeed they do have one of the best defenses in the world, and the defense has gone ahead to do its job. But Dowman, when he was played in, I think, by Ben White, went ahead to receive a ball on the half turn. And now, the defenders of Girona, or the players of Girona, like 3 of those, were like, we have to close him down and obviously steal that ball. When they pressed him and swamped him up, he receives the ball on a half turn and obviously leave them wondering how he has gone ahead to skip past them. And when he skipped past them, that means he was left with because he faced the last line of defense. You understand? He faced the last line of defense. In a single turn, he went ahead to get rid of the entire second line of defense for a team known as Girona, and went ahead to release Kai Havertz. And in the 16th minute, Kai Havertz went ahead to bury that ball in the back of the net. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God. How special is this player? You know, that was really very, very important for me. And I'm like, who is Dowman? And I was like, it was like he was watching my match day live, because I told you that it's a season for him to come up and obviously showcase what he's all about. And indeed, he came up and obviously created that first goal, and it was really very, very, very good. You understand? Very, very good for the side of Arsenal. And the way they transitioned from the central defense, because the ball came from the goalkeeper, after the goalkeeper into the midfield to Max Dowman, receiving the ball in half turn, beating the second line of defense, the second last line of defense for the side of Girona, releasing a man known as Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz went ahead to obviously score a very beautiful goal. And it was a Max Dowman connection. It was a Max Dowman Havertz connection. Havertz registering that goal, and Max Dowman registering his assist of the day. And I was like, yeah, man, the guy looks ready. And by the way, when you look at Max Dowman, he looks ready for the season, and he needs to not only look ready but to also put it in action. You understand? Then Arsenal played and played and played and played and played. Then Christos Tzolis went ahead to score on his Arsenal unofficial debut. That is it. So Christos Tzolis came up and obviously put in a very huge goal. If you really saw it, it was really one of those moments that I was like, oh my God, he has gone ahead to yet announce himself as one of those that he's really doing great and big in the Arsenal shirt. Obviously, Riccardo Carafiori skipping past a number of defenders, all players of Girona, plays Tzolis in. Tzolis tries to obviously maraud towards the 18 yards box area, and went ahead, obviously dropped the shoulder, went in for curling effort into the back of the net. At first we thought Kai Havertz had gone ahead to obviously put a slight touch onto that ball, but the goal was given to Christos Tzolis in there for you. Player signing in for Arsenal from Club Brugge, and he went ahead obviously put in a very huge show into that particular game of football, and it was 2-0 for the club of Arsenal, and Tzolis was on target in there for you. And no sooner he went ahead to obviously get on target, we went into the first half cooling break, and I was like, oh my. Tzolis was another player that I really hinted on coming up and obviously putting up enough evidence for the people and the fans of Arsenal that he can obviously create magic around these players of Arsenal. And indeed, he went ahead obviously put out that magic as Tzolis, and he was on target and put out a lot of evidence to everyone that he's indeed one of the best players that Arsenal is going to have to bring in through. So when I looked at Tzolis, he was like reading my script, because before he went in for that shot or for that effort at goal, he first put in like 3-4 crosses, and he was looking in for Victor Gyökeres. I think 2 of those resulted into corners, and one of those landed into the head of Mosquera, and I think the other never reached a man known as Victor Gyökeres, a man that is meant to be creating for. And that is exactly what you need to know about Tzolis. So, looks like the end product to his game is really magnificent. I know of many people who have been criticizing Arsenal and their wide forwards because of their end products that they've gone ahead to put out onto the different games they've gone ahead to play. This time, the club of Arsenal has brought in Tzolis, and his primary role, he first thinks of the people ahead of him. That's why crosses, cutbacks, and runs towards the byline are really great. And one thing I've gone ahead to see about him, he's a fast player. He's a lightning quick player. I've seen him burst into space and skip past players, meaning that if this is his first game, then Benjamin White was right, because Benjamin White came out and told us that the best informed player at the club of Arsenal in the preseason is Tzolis, and he's trying to give her time to every defender at the club of Arsenal. So even today, it has been evident that it's Tzolis that is obviously going to bring a lot of trouble from that side. And when you hear that Vinicius Junior is coming in through from that side of Arsenal, so from the side of Real Madrid to come and join Arsenal, and you are Tzolis, you obviously have to put in huge evidence such that everyone doesn't underestimate your capabilities. So the evidence is being put out and you're obviously seeing it. So we are waiting to see what will happen in there for you. So the man known as Christos Tzolis went ahead to put out an amazing show to me, and it really went on as planned for the side of Arsenal. So Tzolis scored and really put in a very huge fight for the club of Arsenal. From there, the manager went ahead to make some changes, and he took off Nkapie, took off Kai Havertz, and he took off Victor Gyökeres. And one thing that all those three players had in common is that they played at the World Cup, meaning that they had not gone ahead to obviously gate in ample playing time with the players of Chelsea, with the manager, and they were not at the level really playing in very many minutes. And those players that he really brought on, Jesus, Salmon, and who else? All those players he brought in through had already gone ahead to play in the behind closed doors game that was played in there for you. So that means these players had the energy to go for very many minutes than the others. So the Kai Havertz, Nkapie, and Gyökeres just gave us 40 minutes. And the manager was like, those are enough. We'll obviously try to do more minutes on Wednesday when you're playing against Rio Betis, because Rio Betis is coming in through on Wednesday, and the manager is like, all right, enough. Let's go rest on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday training. Wednesday, you'll get in more minutes in there for you. But I think that's how you prepare these players for the preseason, because you don't push them so much. You just have to bring them in slowly by slowly and see to it that all breaks in down well. Now, 50th, in the 50th minute, obviously, 5 minutes in the second half, Girona pulled one back through Martinez. I think it was a set piece, and Arsenal couldn't defend a set piece, and it really went on well. Now, my man that I told you has to come out and obviously make a statement. I'm talking about Max Dowman. Was like, you want to really destroy my show, right? Because it was like a Max Dowman show, and it was like, you want to come in here and obviously destroy my show. I'm not gonna allow it. And obviously, Miles Lewis-Kelly went ahead to play him in well, and guess what happened? Max Dowman pulled the trigger into the back of the net 3 minutes later, after Girona had gone ahead to pull one back, and I was like, all right, that's Max Dowman for you. And he was sending a message to everyone that I'm gonna be a big star at Arsenal. And he's sending that message to Bukayo Saka and Noni Madueke, right? I'm not obviously trying to downplay what Saka's done for the team or Noni Madueke, but let's all be into the reality mode, you know. That boy is really special. When you look at the things he's doing on the ball, there is no way you don't obviously give him his kudos, right? He's doing whatever you think a player is supposed to be doing on the ball. And I tell you what, no one at a certain point, no one at any team doesn't find him as a threat. I tell you, if he's performing like that at the age of 16, turning 17 in September, the guy is a threat. And what shows you that a player is obviously going to be one of the greatest players in the game, when he really reaches a level of really deciding games like this. When he reaches a level of deciding games like this, you understand? And him being a particular player at that age, deciding what we call games like that, you obviously have to give him what we call huge respect, right? You have to respect him, because how many players at the age of 16, 17 can come up and obviously put out a very huge showcase like that? I was watching the game of Man United, Shia Lessie doing the needful, and then JJ Gabriel at the age of 15 comes in through and obviously puts in such a performance, and I was like, oh my, to be playing for Manchester United at the age of 15 like Max Dowman did, made his debut for the club of Arsenal and even scored his goal before I think he turned 16. It is really something great. It's not something that you can obviously get anywhere. It is really hard to find a player of the age of 15, 16 performing at levels like these other guys are really doing at. Max Dowman, 1 assist and a goal on his name today. That was really, really very impressive of him. And I think his entire people that really believe in him. And I think even Mikel Arteta, after that game of football, the photos he has gone ahead to obviously put out when he's obviously trying to talk to him, best explain how the club of Arsenal really goes ahead to obviously respect this guy and what they think about him in the near future. So, the guy that we're talking about, who goes by names of Max Dowman, has had some good time with the manager of Arsenal. And let me show you these photos after that game of football and how the manager was with Max Dowman. Let me show you this. Let me show you this. Oh, this is really too fat. All right. Now, that's the manager talking to Max Dowman. That's the manager talking to Max Dowman and showing him exactly what he's supposed to be doing, and maybe strengthening him. Now, this photo reminds me of Eric Ten Hag when he was talking to Kobe Mainoo. I think it was the Carabao Cup final after United had gone ahead to beat Newcastle. Ten Hag was with Kobe Mainoo, and exactly he was doing what Arteta is telling this young man. I think Kobe Mainoo at that time, I think he was, I think he made his debut at the age of 16 at the club of Man United. That is it. Kobe Mainoo made his debut at the age of 16. And when I look at Max Dowman and Mikel Arteta, it reminds me of that. And for Max Dowman, it's no brainer. He's really going to be that big star at the club of Arsenal. He's going to be that big star at the club of Arsenal. And I tell you what, just watch the space. Just watch the space. You'll tell me what this lad will turn into. He's so special, I tell you. He's so special. And I just loved him and him imposing himself onto this game, And him imposing himself in this game, it's not that everyone on the pitch was playing for him. No way. No way. He was doing the needful, and he came in through and obviously put in a very huge shift altogether. You understand? So, don't at any one particular moment feel that he's not going to be what he's supposed to be. He's really going to be. He's humble. And his lifestyle is really good, And at a certain point, Exa was like, what does Lamine Yamal do that this boy doesn't do? And the question that ran in my head was, if Max Dowman was at Barcelona, wouldn't they make him a starter in that Barca team? Because for Max Dowman, he's not like Lamine Yamal, because Lamine Yamal is limited to only playing as a right forward. But for this guy, he can play as a left forward, central attacking midfielder, right forward, and can also play as a false number 9. That is Max Dowman for you. So he still has a lot to offer. And I do believe that in this coming season, he will have to play a very big role into the side of Arsenal. And remember, Arsenal, if they bring in Bruno Guimaraes, they'll be having a team that can obviously push these young stars to really producing moments of greatness at the club of Arsenal. That is it. So after Max Dowman pulling the trigger, in the 55th minute, 2 minutes later, after Max Dowman went ahead to make it 3-1 for the club of Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus again, was it Ben White? Someone went ahead to obviously sneak a boot into that ball and went ahead to fall in the vicinity of Gabriel Jesus. And Gabriel Jesus went ahead to obviously make it 4 for the club of Arsenal. And I was like, game done. Game done. Now the manager went ahead to check off these players and brought on the academy players. And I won't discuss the academy players, guys. I'm sorry, but I won't discuss those because they are not ill. They're not gonna be of any important use into the season, because those that are really very important are Max Dowman. Ethan Waneri, I think he needs to obviously come up and obviously up his game. That is it. He needs to put in a very huge shift in there for you to see to it that he puts in the best of the game. That is it for him. So Arsenal have beaten Girona by 4-1. And I tell you what, I enjoyed the game. And I was like, yeah. Good performances by the side of Arsenal. But Tzolis scoring on his Arsenal debut is one of those that we have to obviously come in here and really praise him for. That helps him really build his confidence as a player for the club of Arsenal, coming in through and really putting in that performance. Is not easy, but indeed, it shows you that he is one of those players that Arsenal went ahead to obviously selecting very well. I'm having this one is called Galowe Luewesia 68. I agree with you on Dowman. He was an outstanding in the attack, very outstanding in the Arsenal attack, and he was very decisive. We all know to it that he has a very good skill set, but did you see him trying to do a lot of trickeries? Not really, meaning that he's really growing up in his game as a player. He's growing up in his game and turning out to be one of those players that you'll have to look at and say, yeah, indeed. If there is some work that Arteta's going to hate to do on this boy, it's really vivid, in this particular game. He came up and never at one point looked like a wasteful guy. We were on the live on TikTok in the morning, and one was like, when you look at how decisive and direct Max Dowman is, if Odegaard could give Arsenal that directness, then he would have gone ahead to turn out to be one of the best number 10s in the world. So, the side of Arsenal are really blessed to be having Max Dowman. That is it. And I do believe he's going to be one of the most important players at the club of Arsenal come this coming season, 2026-2027. Right? And the Sakas, Anoni Maduekes, will feel the pressure. That is it. Then, I'm having who? I'm having Mubarak says, Mr. Aradi, big up. Tzolis shows his fantastic job. There is a player in Tzolis because he's a direct player and he decides really quickly. And at the beginning of the video, I came up and told you what I went ahead love about Tzolis. First and foremost, I loved him being a man who really likes to put in those crosses and skip past people. And it's on rare occasions that you see him shoot at goal. And I think the only shot that he directed at goal ended up crossing the line. You understand? So that shows you the pure qualities of this guy and what he's bringing onto the table in here. So I'm having Mohindo Martin. Thanks, bro. All right. Thank you to Raymond Kangumba. Hey, Wesisa, how are you? Jasili be appointed as the manager of Newcastle and be announced the manager, the Newcastle United deal right now. I haven't gone ahead to understand what you're saying. I understand he's the Newcastle manager, no doubt about it. And I cannot come in here and obviously say that he is not. He's really the manager, right? But what you've gone ahead to say again, I cannot really understand. Please phrase your statement very, very well. You understand? Then in Zeko Cosmas, Tzolis is very good. He's a very good player. All right, indeed, he's really a very good player. And I just love whatever he does on the ball. And he tracks back very well. I saw him coming to the rescue, defending, and he was all over the pitch. And on that entire line, he really had a lot to do in there. So I do understand that the side of Arsenal have a very good player in Tzolis. Moses says, already, just watching you from Barara, please leave us some news update on Vini, Gumares, and Alvarez. Now, for Bruno Gumares, we are waiting for the here we go of that deal. That is it. But reports are indicating that that deal is done and dusted. Then for Vini, I brought you the updates of Vinicius Jr. You know, he's excited to come to Arsenal if Real Madrid don't offer him an improved contract. And it's done and dusted that if the guy is not given the amount of money he wants, he has already gone ahead to make a decision that his next destination is going to be Arsenal. So, that is it. Julian Alvarez, obviously, there are 3 conditions that have been set for him. Apologize to Atletico to stay. All go to Arsenal. All, if Barcelona wants the player, they have to trigger the release clause of 500 million euros. That is it. In Zico Cosmas, who is better between Dowman and JJ Gabriel of Man United? I see people say JJ Gabriel, others are saying Max Dowman. For you, who is better than? Now, let me tell you this. When I look at JJ Gabriel, JJ Gabriel plays like Neymar. If you know Neymar, that is JJ Gabriel. And JJ Gabriel looks more of a jam than Max Dowman. But where does Max Dowman edge this guy? Max Dowman has already gone ahead to make his Premier League debut, right? And he has a Premier League goal onto his name. Today, he has been the starting 11 of Arsenal, and he has gone ahead to score a goal and put in an assist. So, there is no evidence that backs JJ Gabriel ahead of Max Dowman. Not until JJ Gabriel gets into the starting team of Man United, all starts to get in cameos like this guy did last season. And I do believe that Michael Carrick will give JJ Gabriel those cameos come this coming season because we still have very many games to play. But he's really very impressive. But this one is 1 year older because JJ Gabriel is going to be clocking 16, I think, this year. And Max Dowman is going to be clocking 17. So, we wait and see how he'll obviously look when he comes in through to do the job at the club of Manchester United. But for now, Max Dowman looks exciting. But JJ Gabriel, if he can transfer what he does in the unders to the team of Man United, he can be one of those players that indeed can come up and obviously own the football world. You know, at that age when Real Madrid, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, PSG is really looking at you, you are not something usual. That means you are something unusual. You understand? So, Max Dowman for now, because he's already into the team of Arsenal, he's slightly better than the other one. But I do believe that Max Dowman, when he gets a chance to play in the Premier League, Champions League, you'll come here and really let me know that he's better than Max Dowman. I'm talking about JJ Gabriel. Some updates on outgoing players from Arsenal, especially on Vieira Nogard. Nogard, deal agreed to Everton. That is it. I've just gone ahead to upload that video on the YouTube channel. You can as well go ahead and obviously see it. The others, Martinelli, Jesus, Waneri, Fabio Vieira. Not very many updates, but I think Hamburg is really interested in signing, what's the name of the guy? Fabio Vieira on a permanent deal. You know, they're really willing to take him on a permanent deal. Now, lastly, my man of the match, Max Dowman for me is my man of the match. And I'm asking myself, how come you give the man of the match award to Kai Havertz? He never played as many minutes as Max Dowman, and I think Max Dowman looked a lot more lively than Kai Havertz. You understand? So, I would, at any day, give the man of the match award or accolade to Max Dowman. That is it. So, guys, thank you very much for checking through. Rokani David is my name. I promised to be here for only 30 minutes, and I think I've been here for those minutes. And please, and please, and please, and please, continue to subscribe. That has been my match reaction, and the rest